Hello, I'm Dr. Zandra Bell McRoy. I'm your virtual PLC lead for 6 through 12 band, and welcome back for part two of our positive learning environment webinar, um, creating a positive learning environment in the band room. So, did you know that goal setting is much simpler than we often assume it is? And it can be the difference between a superior and an excellent at LGPE. It really can be. And it can be the difference between a classroom environment that is focused, positive, and productive, and one that is toxic, mundane, and inefficient. So that's really a bold statement, but I truly believe that goal setting is really important. So we're going to jump in and talk about goal setting now as a part of building a positive classroom environment. So long-term goal setting helps us as educators build quality instruction. So looking long-term, semester plan, unit plans, um, yearly plans, those are long-term goal setting. That's long-term goal setting. And also long-term goal setting can help students envision themselves in the program for the duration of the school year. So if you actually have them think about themselves in the program for the entire school year, they're going to be in the program for the entire school year. Um, you're not going to have a lot of I'm going to quit in the middle because they have set up these goals and they've already seen themselves finishing the year. So if you just put that energy in the universe and you put that thought in their mind, it's much harder for them to just kind of flee in the middle of the year. Now, I'm not saying they won't. Some won't, and some will always. Attrition is normal, but you will kind of change the narrative in your classroom. Everybody's thinking about this thing long term. We're thinking about it from the beginning of the year to the end. Now, if you're on a block schedule, unfortunately, you might have to think about it from the beginning to the end of the semester because it's the end of the course. As much as we want every child in our program to be in our class the entire school year, for some that is unattainable just because of scheduling conflicts. And so it is what it is, and we fight the battles that are truly, truly important, and then we remain flexible for the battles that we don't want to fight. And then long-term goal setting can sometimes be challenging, especially for younger students. But if you use the SMART method, it can help everyone stay on track, including the teacher. So our goals can get a little lofty sometimes if we don't keep to that SMART method. And so this is the SMART method that I was talking about. SMART goal setting is so important and it's so helpful, and this little graphic kind of just is what I throw up on the screen whenever we get started with our goal setting so that they can see it and see little pictures to kind of give them an idea of what each category means. And so why do we use SMART goals? Well, SMART goals are really effective because they keep things tight and they don't allow us to get too broad and they don't allow us to get um, too lofty. And we want to make sure that we are setting ourselves and the students up for success at all times. And so SMART goals help with that. So a SMART goal is specific. It keeps things really focused. It's measurable. You can assign a metric to it. It can be quantified, or it can be evaluated, right? Attainable. It keeps things in reach so that your goal isn't so lofty, is so and so out there that you get discouraged and you don't meet it. It's realistic, and realistic prevents feelings of defeat. Um, you can't say you're in the seventh grade and you just started. This is your in beginning band, and you want your goal to be that you make it maybe into the ASO talent development program, but you're a beginner. So you might have to give yourself another year to work on things and to get better and to get more skills before you hit that level. So you want it to be realistic. Now, is it unheard of? No. Is it impossible? No. But when we're building goals, we want to make sure that those goals are as realistic as possible because nothing breeds success like success. Students will enjoy activities that they do well in. And then finally, timely gives you a deadline. So if you know by the end of the year you want all of your students to be able to play all 12 major scales, one octave, you know you have until the end of the year. You know by December you want them to know how to play six or seven or eight. You have given yourself a deadline to work toward. And then that way you can build backwards. You can plan backwards. That's another webinar series that you can check out on our YouTube channel as well. And that's about backwards planning in the band room. So that's a good one. At least I thought it was good. All right. So don't forget now, in all this goal setting, fundamentals matter. Don't forget about including the essentials into your goal setting, like music theory and scales and technical studies, rhythm studies, and method book work. Make sure that that's included in your goal setting so that it's not just about the music you play and it's not just about what you get at large group. It's about becoming a really independent and engaged musician. That's what's really important, right? So there's a form, and I've included it in my resources document that is on the discussion board that you can make a copy of. And I use this with my students every year. It used to be on paper and then, you know, band directors and paper. I mean, we already have to deal with a lot of music. So anytime I can not have to deal with paper, I opt out of that paper. But I use this with my students to help them set goals for the school year. This is a long-term goal setting form. And so it's not just about band. It's about band. It's about academics, like their other academic areas or just their grades as a collective. The band stuff isn't really about a grade, right? It's about just the things they want to accomplish as a musician. And then the academic section is really about the way that they approach being a student. What goals do they have as a student? And then the personal goals are really about their social goals or their personal wellness goals or things like that for the year. And having them think about all of those goals in band may seem a little bit much, but you know, when you know where your students want to go, you can help them get there through band is what you do, right? So we do band, and so we can help them get there. If they say, I want to get more physically fit and lose 10 pounds and be able to run a mile, guess what would be a great activity for you? Marching band. Join the marching band, and it will help you with your fitness goals. And so, and then they can make those connections because there are other kids that may play sports or they may just be physically active and they've found a workout buddy. So it's just so many goals that we can help students with that sometimes we don't think about. It doesn't always have to be about the music. Sometimes it's just about the kid. So now that they've all done this form, you get that data, right? You get all of that information in your spreadsheet, and so you can sort it. You can kind of sort it by theme and kind of figure out what are the most frequently occurring goals that you see, and then take those goals and compile them and make a class long-term goals voting form. And that's what we do, especially with our younger students. But we actually, this year, we plan on doing it with all of our students and have them vote as a class on their goals, their class long-term goals. So once they vote on those, and that data comes to you, you know exactly your top three. You want three goals and have every kid vote for three goals. And then there you go. You have your top three goals for the class. And those goals are going to guide your work, not just you as a teacher, but then as students. Then once those goals are developed and you've decided on them, shout it from the rooftops. Let everybody know these are our goals. Post them to hold each other accountable. They need to hold you accountable. You need to hold them accountable. Communicate your goals to the students, parents, and administrators. When people walk into your band room, they should know what your long term goals are for each single class, whether it's posted very overtly or if it's always just kind of tucked away on the side of the board for each class's portion of the board, or if it's in the corner of your rehearsal plan, or, all of those things. And you can link all of your activities to your goals, your long term goals for the class if you want to. We do that for the standards. Why not do it for your goals? So I'm not trying to create more work for you. I'm actually trying to make the work more meaningful and efficient. And so if everybody's working toward the same goal, it's so much easier to accomplish it. And so share, share that goal. It's not a secret. And did you know these long term goals can help you and your students build a classroom culture that is always about moving forward? It is really hard to misbehave when you're working hard. So if you have very focused work in front of you and you have very focused goals and everyone's committed to those goals, guess what? We're becoming better every day together. And so we are working too hard to not work hard, right? So music is hard enough. We don't need to make it any harder. So let's do the work so that it is easy. When we misbehave, when we don't focus, when we don't work toward our goals, we don't get very much done and it doesn't feel good. So how about we focus on these goals and we work hard and we get it done so that we can have fun doing the work. Success breeds success, and success comes from knowing where you want to go. You don't know if you are successful if you don't know where you want to go. So now let's talk about short-term goal setting. And this is really, this is like the nuts and bolts. This is where the day-to-day work happens. And short-term goal setting actually helps us as educators build quality instruction on a daily basis. It helps students stay focused in the learning process, so they're not getting lost like lost in the weeds, right? These long-term goals are really great, but if they don't know what they want to get done this week, they're kind of like, and so everything's real juicy and really nebulous. We don't want that. We want the students to know where they're going, and we want them engaged in every step of accomplishing that long-term goal. And within that long-term goal are many, many short-term goals happening. And so short-term goal setting can be fun for the students and the teacher because meeting and exceeding goals can be motivating. If you meet those goals or you exceed those goals, you go past what you wanted for the week. Wow, how motivating is that? And then even failure, like quote unquote failure, falling short of your goals can be motivating because you want to get better. They're like, we didn't meet our goals today. This is not okay. We got to be better than this. And then they're motivated to work harder the next day. So, and it motivates you to figure out new ways to approach the teaching and learning process so that you can meet those goals because it's never just the kids. It's never just the teacher. You're all in this together. All right, so daily and weekly goal setting. For you as the teacher, it's so important to set weekly goals based on the long-term goals that you set previously. Knowing where you want to end up is so important. So you have a unit plan, of course, based on like each concert cycle. So you've got this unit plan and you want to get through this unit plan. And within that unit plan, you've got like weekly checkpoints for yourself. The kids need to be here, 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 and here. And as a conductor, I need to be here, 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 and here with my score study and my rehearsing and my conducting practice and all of that. So everybody's got goals. Everybody's got work to do. And then using the recordings to help with this weekly and daily goal setting is so helpful. When you're on the podium, I don't know if you've ever had someone come in to work with your band and you're in there with them and you're like, I didn't hear that. That's been happening, hasn't it, the whole time? And it's just so incredible what happens to your ears when you get off of the box and you're not responsible for holding everything together and you can just listen. You can hear so much. So an easy way to do that, especially if you're a singleton and you're in the classroom alone, um, a great way to do that and get a real sense of what the kids can and cannot do at this point, what they are and aren't doing. And I don't like to say what they can't do, but what they are currently doing and what they need to be doing. Get a recording. It really does help. And then adjust your weekly goals based on what happens in class. Don't be afraid to pivot if you are trying to um, work a section that is, a little more rhythmically um, challenging for the kids in the music and is dealing with a lot of syncopation and it might be in cut time or some new concept. And it wasn't in your weekly goal to go into one of your books and extract some syncopation exercises or some rhythmic exercises or whatever. Um, Pivot, put it in your warm up, put it in your meat and potatoes part of your class into the instructional part of your class where you're really building skills and concepts and pivot, change that plan and include that into the plan so that they can enjoy the musical journey rather than be bogged down in trying to learn how to do it inside of the music. There's enough going on inside the music. They don't need to be learning that concept in it. They need to low stakes learn that concept and then apply it to the music so that they can get all of the other stuff, all of the other levels, the level 2 stuff above and the level 3 stuff below the staff. Okay, so pivot if you need to. I know that's a bad word these days, pivot, because we were pivoting for so long with COVID, but you really do have to be able to change direction very quickly. And so this is a form we're trying with our students this year to well we've done it with our older students. We're going to try it with all of our students to set those weekly goals, and everybody's responsible for setting the weekly goals, and that's part of your weekly participation um, assessment. And so, are you um, setting goals, and then are you meeting them? And after students have set the goals for the week, you might be surprised at what you find. Use that data to create lesson plans that include their needs for the week. So don't just think about what you hear, don't just think about what you want to get accomplished, but also think about what they need from you. Some of them may need some review in that method book about, you know, crossing the break or, who knows, you know, alternative fingerings on a 4-valve euphonium. I mean, they just may need some extra time. And so just take that time, read what they say so that you can kind of digest and dissect it. And you don't have to like sit and spend hours doing this. Just kind of glance at it and look. You might find some really interesting things. Group them by instrument so that you can see what do the flutes want, what do the clarinets want, and you can kind of build instruction from that. And so short-term goal setting as a team is really important because if you record them on Friday is always our A to Z day, so where we just play everything straight through at some point in class. And I try to record it every week so that they can hear it and I can hear it and we can know, did it get any better? Did it get better? Did it not? I don't know. But when they listen to their Friday performance, they can start to build their group goals. Um, I that hotspot form with students is really effective because it gives them the opportunity to say measures this through this are a booger for me and I just need help. And they can hear it in the music. They can say, ooh, trombones, y'all, we've got to get it together. Measures 9 through 13. That was rough. And if time allows, have students give this feedback verbally. If you don't want to do the form, just have them talk about it verbally and you jot down what they say. And it also helps them speak in the language because they have to talk to you in measure numbers and in musical terms. So they're telling you exactly, they can't just say, I can't play it. Nope, you have to tell me exactly what the problem is. Is rhythmically too difficult? I'm having trouble with understanding the syncopated rhythm, or I'm having trouble playing the 16th notes evenly and in time. Things like that. Have them speak in the language. So it really does help. And then again, shout it from the rooftop. Once you set those weekly goals, communicate them to each other. So letting the kids know this is what we're working on this week. And then from day to day, everything I do is connected to this weekly goal. And then every weekly goal is connected to the long term goal. And then communicate your daily goals with your students, parents, and administrators. Again, give them access to your rehearsal slides, your plans, all of that stuff if you feel comfortable. It's okay for them to see how hard you work for your kids, for their kids, and for your school. And so your administrators need to know what you're doing in your classroom. And oftentimes they don't realize how complex the work that we do is and how many moving parts are there, and how um, self sufficient we are as far as curricular planning. So post these goals in your classroom, post them on your rehearsal plan, post them on your board, post them on Google Classroom if that's what you use, post them on Schoology if that's what you use, whatever you use to communicate those goals and let everybody know, all of your stakeholders know what you're doing. They can't say you didn't tell them. And then the short-term goals can help you and your students build a classroom culture that is about moving forward. And it's not moving forward in big steps, it's moving forward in little steps. And again, it's hard to misbehave when you're working hard. And when you break up the work into smaller pieces each day, it helps students see their progress. They can see it. They can see what they're accomplishing. They can see what they're achieving. Being this shirt, this blouse are just not friends today. They can see the progress, and that's really important, especially for younger players. They need to know that they're making progress. They need to hear it, feel it, see it, smell it, taste it, all the things. They need to know that it's happening, so that they can know that they are getting better every single day. And they're not getting better just individually, they're getting better as a group. And again, I'm going to keep saying this all the time. Don't forget, bookwork matters. You know, all of the essentials, the technique, all of that stuff, it matters. And so music theory, scales, technical studies, rhythm studies, method bookwork, all of that stuff. And I call it all that stuff bookwork because it's the stuff that people just don't really like. It's your vegetables. I personally love vegetables. It's my favorite part of most meals, unless you give me a steak and then, but I think that music theory, scales, technical studies, rhythm studies, method bookwork, all that stuff is so valuable because when they can do those things and then you choose music that is in their wheelhouse, man, you can make some really good music and really have a good time making music with your students because you're not having to like hash it out and, you know, just get dirty in the music. Get dirty in the method book. Have fun in music. So, wrap all of this up about goal setting and how it relates to your classroom environment. And it is, goal setting is integral to building a positive classroom environment because it gives you forward movement, it gives you purpose, and the students feel like the work that they do in there matters from day to day. Long-term goal setting gives students the opportunity to envision themselves becoming better musicians by the end of the school year. And short-term goal setting gives students daily and weekly focus. Goal setting can change your classroom environment and you can all become a team working toward a common goal. That's so important. It shouldn't be them versus you and you versus them. It should be we're all on this thing together. And how do we do that? Creating goals and working together to meet those goals. All right. So that's it for part 2. I hope you enjoyed it. And please join me for part 3, our final section of creating a positive classroom environment. I got to go, but I'll see you soon. Bye.